Wednesday. Thanks for being with, I would say us, but me here for Talk Pittsburgh today. We're going to have a great show for you. Ahead, Mary Hours has your midweek forecast. We're getting game day ready in the kitchen for the Super Bowl. And I'm sitting down with one of the top female goaltenders in the country, a first-time Olympian from right here in Butler County. First, though, your headlines in 90 seconds or less in today's Bird's Eye View.
New legal trouble for DK Metcalf.
Yeah, you remember when Metcalf got physical with that Detroit Lions fan on the sidelines during Week 16? Well, now that man is calling him to court. Ryan Kennedy is seeking $100 million in damages stemming from the December 21st incident.
It's 3 years since the toxic train derailment in East Palestine, and rail safety reform is still in limbo.
I do not want to be back here next year, or at the 5-year anniversary, or the 10-year anniversary, or heaven forbid when there's another tragedy.
Still no sign of Today's Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie's mom.
The Pima County Sheriff tells CBS his office got a ransom note Monday night. President Trump went on to say he would offer additional federal help in the case if wanted. Tonight, inside a church in Tucson, the community will gather to hold a candlelight vigil for Nancy Guthrie.
The frigid temperatures aren't going to help melt the massive snow piles anytime soon. The National Weather Service says we need temperatures above freezing, along with lots of sunshine and a south wind.
Oh, and we had a little bit of that sunshine yesterday, but it didn't do a whole lot. So if the snow piles are here to stay, what does that mean for you? And yeah, your car too. One of the big stories that we're digging into is you digging out, and not just clearing the sidewalks. We're talking about your sacred, cleared out parking spot. Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor recently said, respect the chair, needed advice because we know it doesn't always happen. Pittsburgh personality and comedian Johnny Pittsburgh posted this of various household items used to hold your spot: plastic chairs, cones, even a trash can, as you can see. If you've done the work to clear your spot, as we know, it's yours. But have you ever seen this? A toilet saving a spot, shared on Reddit. Quite honestly, as amusing as this is, I have to question if it's AI. We applaud the creativity nonetheless. The Post-Gazette, though, did some digging of their own, looking into the history of the parking chair, and it turns out, as special as we want this to be for our beloved city, it's not quite as unique as we think. As they reported, other cities use items to mark their parking spaces too. In Chicago, they call it dibs. In Boston, space savers. And case in point, if you've seen this image of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ floating around, well, he's not a Yenzer. Turns out, thanks to a reverse image search, this photo is from just outside of Chicago. By the way, our friend Alex here locally, who had his bedazzled chair stolen, we checked in, it's still missing, and we still hope that he finds it soon. And I think a lot of us have seen the video recently of what happens when you steal a cleaned out spot. Take a look at these pictures. A woman recently buried her neighbor's car in snow after they stole her cleaned out space. So we want to bring Mary Hours in to talk about this a little bit.
The drama.
There is so much drama because you know the amount of work that it takes to clear out a spot. So if you're doing it, it's yours.
Man, if someone touched my chair, game over.
See, I said about burying the neighbor's car, I said there's so many factors that play into this. I mean, if it's a spot in front of your house, then I say more than likely it's yours.
That's savage.
If there are apartments nearby or townhomes or you have neighbors visiting, you know, it could be a little different.
Yeah, Philly did that too. Philly does that too with their chairs. They put chairs out there. That's another city I've seen pictures with. But yeah. I mean, the snow depth that we have, I mean, you're not digging out from this really anytime soon, especially if your car's like stuck. You have piles. If you have a driveway too, I mean, you have to clear the snow out from the sides. Right. Plus now more snow on the way. So yeah, you're not getting a break, and it's tough work. It is tough work, especially out in those sub-freezing temperatures. Below zero, you earned that spot.
And I know you listen to Mikey and Big Bob sometime, right?
Yes, they're hilarious.
Okay, so I just saw one of his posts, Big Bob's post, where he has a heated driveway. I have never been more jealous in my entire life.
I've seen those before.
These are floating around. I don't know how expensive they are.
Very.
What a luxury to have, though, in a winter in Pittsburgh.
That's the way to go, for sure.
Okay. All right, Mary, we're going to check back in with you in just a little bit. Meanwhile, we want to get to this because, as you know, we're doing our countdown to the draft. There are 78 days until the NFL draft comes to Pittsburgh, and each Wednesday we're showing you what's new, what to expect this spring as we count down. And today, We got a lot of news to share. New into our newsroom, a brand new film celebrating Western PA's football roots will premiere ahead of the draft. NFL Films is rolling out its first ever immersive documentary called The Football Town. It premieres later this month at the Cayman Science Center. You'll spot Steelers legends, plenty of nostalgia, and the voice of Pittsburgh's own Pat McAfee guiding you through it. So tickets for that go on sale next week, February 13th. And Visit Pittsburgh released brand new renderings of the big stages and festivals yesterday. This is a look at the North Shore and Point State Park once the draft is in full swing, or what they hope it's going to look like. We told you last week that the free fan festival is happening at the Point. Meanwhile, the draft itself is across the river on the North Shore. That's where you're going to find the main stage and draft theater. This is the big stage that you will see on TV with athletes and their families seated outside the stadium on draft day. And if you're already thinking about traffic during draft weekend, here's your first alert. We just found out that the Roberto Clemente Bridge will be closed to cars during the draft. Only pedestrians will be allowed to use the bridge. More than 500,000 people are expected to visit Pittsburgh during the draft, April 23rd through the 25th. And we're not done yet. We have another new draft event to tell you about. It's called Taste of the Draft, and it features celebrity guests like Chef Andrew Zimmerman. This event was also held last year in Green Bay, but heads up, we did go check out tickets. They are very pricey. I think it was over $800 a ticket for the one that I saw, but proceeds help fight student hunger. So if you got it, it's going to help a lot of people. Haven't had enough draft talk? Check out Drafted tonight in the 5 o'clock news. Our sports team picked the 52 best Western PA football players to get drafted to the NFL, and they're revealing their next pick. That's coming up tonight. Still to come right now, though, on Talk Pittsburgh, happy National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Today, we are celebrating big. KDKA reporter Cassidy Wood is joining me to talk predictions, plays, and how Pittsburgh is connected to the big game. Plus, consider this your weeknight win and game day hero, and all rolled into one. Chef Janet is showing us a simple trick that makes this dinner recipe so doable. And Boaz is checking out a church turned arcade, pinball, and prayers. You can knock them both out at once. Hey, Boaz.
Hey, this is wild. Yes, this is an old Catholic church, and now it is full of hundreds of video games and pinball machines. I'm going to show you around after the break.
In the 1960s, Pittsburgh was home to over 2,000 active churches. But what happens when parishes are combined or communities move away? Some of those structures have found new lives as apartments, breweries, and concert venues. Boaz is in Duquesne today, where he's found perhaps the most creative use for a former Catholic church. Are you in an arcade? Because that's what it looks like, Boaz.
Yes, that is right. This is the Arcade Church here in Duquesne. I'm here with Mike, one of the folks behind it. And I just got to ask, where did this idea come from?
Well, the whole thing grew out of the Pittsburgh Arcade Collective, which is a local group of arcade collectors and enthusiasts and pinball lovers and everything. And we just kind of all got together, and we've been throwing events and things at other arcades in the Pittsburgh area for 5 or 6 years now. And at one point in time, we just said, hey, we've got a bunch of games. Why don't we put them all together somewhere? And it ended up being in a church.
Yeah, and you opened up this past weekend, and you had a huge tournament. Tell me about that.
We did. We had an amazing turnout. We believe it was over 500 people total over 2 days, which was awesome. We had food trucks. We had a local microbrewery, Y Beer Company here. They're good friends of ours, and it was just awesome. There's tons of people coming in, having a great time, playing tournament pinball, enjoying games together at the arcade. It was a really, really great week.
Well, let's walk in a little deeper over here. So just to give people a sense, how many different games are in this space?
There's a lot. There's over 100 video arcade games and over 30, almost 40 pinball machines. So, I mean, it's a wonderful collection of all of ours just kind of coming together. But there's something from every era here. It's really cool.
And dating to like even the 70s. I mean, you look at something like this super hang-on, and you do not see arcade games like this anymore.
Yeah, these were like from the mid-'80s and stuff. There's just a lot of cool games you can't experience any other way than like playing these old cabinets. You know, they're just so unique. So.
Well, I want to check in with John over here, because John is the one who actually bought the building. And I got to ask you, John, I'm sorry to interrupt your Star Wars game, first of all, but what does it take to turn a church into an arcade?
So there was some challenges, starting with an old building that was built in 1899.
Yeah.
But But this building actually had a good set of bones, and the electrical was all updated because these machines do take a good.
Oh my gosh, it must take a lot of power.
It does take a lot of power, yes. And luckily, all that was updated. And then some of the features, we tried to keep all the features in architecture.
Well, I want to talk about one of those features. So these confessionals over here, let's pop into one of these right now. So you sort of retook this confessional, and now it's like a little Miss Pac-Man game zone.
Yeah, we were able to keep the confessionals and make them more of a, an area where people can come in and play games, and kind of have a little bit of a break and keep the actual architecture and features of the church.
And this amazing carpeting on the walls is great too. And I want to pop out here because at the front of the church, well, when the Catholic Church sells this, they take a few things with them. They take some of the religious stained glass windows, and then of course there was a big crucifix in the front of the church which they got rid of. And tell me what you replaced that with.
That's actually our logo that Mike Hof had built.
Just the Church of Pac-Man now.
Yes. Yeah. For the church arcade, we were able to build something and get something up there that kind of represented what we were doing.
Yeah. And I just got to point out one of my favorite games over here. I spent so many hours playing the Simpsons arcade game. In fact, after we're done here, I might have to visit this here. And I wanted to check in with Adam over here too. Thanks so much, John. Adam is over here playing Mortal Kombat. And Adam was telling me earlier, there's also sort of archaeology involved in restoring all these consoles.
Oh, absolutely. So something like this is the finished product of what happens once we kind of turn it back into what it looked like in its natural state. I'll put it that way. If we walk over here to this golden tee, back then the arcade operators would put these things in arcades, different locations, and at some point Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct stopped making money.
And so you can sort of, Adam pointed to this, look over here and you can see underneath that green, there's a bit of the logo. And so you realize like, oh, there used to be a different game in here.
Right, and that's what gets us excited. You see the Nintendo logo, it's like, oh, this is awesome. This is a Killer Instinct. At some point, this needs to be a Killer Instinct again.
And so the collective is working to restore all these games. You own all these, giant machines between you. And so the dream is eventually to restore all these.
Yes, absolutely. Like even this one, for example, here we got this as a Daytona 2. Yeah. And for Pittsburgh Gaming Expo, one of the artists were coming into town, Paul Niemeyer. So we have a signature up here on the marquee. This is a game you didn't see very common. He worked on it at the same time that he worked on Mortal Kombat. Yeah. So we made sure this one was there and available for him, for his fans to come out and see. Okay.
Amazing. Gosh, thank you so much, Adam. We got to wrap it up, unfortunately. And honestly, I just got to get back to that Simpsons game and the NBA Jam game, which I played so much in middle school. So I've got to get to some playing. But it was nice showing you around.
Did you say Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? Because those were the two big jams when I was growing up.
Yeah, we've got Mortal Kombat right here. Although Adam, the archaeologist, told me this is actually a Donkey Kong console. How about that?
So fun. So fun. I like that they're using the space, Boaz. Thank you. Really fun showing us around. Have fun playing. We're going to link you up to the church arcade at kdka.com/talkpittsburgh. Don't go anywhere there. Next on the show, Mary is back. And Mary, I hear it's getting colder.
It's been 13 days since our temperatures have not been above the freezing mark. And we have more days below freezing. And yes, even colder temperatures ahead for the weekend, plus some snow. We'll break it all down for you in just a little bit.
All right, Mary, we got to check in with you. This time of year, I feel like a lot of people are congested, uncomfortable. I don't know. I'm just cold, so I'm just trying to stay warm, really.
Yes. Yeah, it all deals with the humidity where you need that to be inside. We're very stuffy, so we have a sweet spot where we need that humidity to be on the inside so that growth and bacteria does not grow. So usually below that 30 and 40%, the air is very dry and it dries out those tissues in your nose, your throat, and your eyes. And then those sudden changes in temperature and humidity causes those tissues to swell and become irritated. And then that leads to congestion, coughing, scratchy throat, sinus pressure, all of that stuff, nosebleeds. But on the flip side, when the indoor humidity gets too high, typically in that 50 to 60%, that creates the perfect environment for those dust mites and mold. And then that makes allergy symptoms pretty bad.
Which is we have the dry skin.
I have it now.
We have the dry. I know you're not alone with that. I think that a lot of people are feeling that way for sure. And so is this why we're seeing a lot of sinus issues?
Yeah. So when we do our allergy reports, you know how we normally do pollen, all of that. That's obviously low. but dust and dander is extreme right now, today and tomorrow, actually all week. And a big reason is because we're spending more time indoors. So the dust and the dust mites are just extreme, and that dry air irritates your sinuses. So when you add those indoor allergens like the dust, the dander, even mold, it will trigger more pressure and congestion. So allergy forecast still elevated in the winter. Don't forget about that, even when those pollen levels are low.
Okay, so we are big fans. We saw this trend a while back about burping the house, which is like opening your windows for just 5 minutes a day.
Yes.
And getting some of that fresh air in. I know that we're coming up against some big cold weather though.
Yeah, I was so proud of my husband the other day. I opened the door, I'm like, let's get some sunshine. And he was like, yeah, let's burp the house. And I was like, you know about that? He was like, yeah, I saw it on social media. I'm like, yes, you did, because he's not a big social media person. But yes, today's a great day for a car wash too. And then you want to maybe let some of that fresh air in. We have sunshine. I mean, temperatures mid to upper 20s, but that's about the best it's going to get. Even tomorrow, partly sunny, mid 20s. We have calm winds too. You do not want those winds to be strong, because then that's going to blow it all around. Then we got snow Friday.
All right, that's coming our way. Mary, thank you so much.
Yep.
All right, we are back here in the kitchen. The best game day recipes don't just taste good, they work overtime. And this next one keeps it simple with a one-sheet pan and a bonus meal built right in. Chef Janet is here to show us how to make chicken fajitas that score twice. And I love when you take a little bit of that pressure off of us, a little bit of the work.
Yes, I love a good, make it once and use it twice.
And use it twice.
Yep.
Okay, so how are we getting started?
So what we're going to do is make sheet pan fajitas with chicken, and then we're going to turn that into tortilla soup later in the week.
Bonus.
Okay, so I don't know, this is my favorite way to cut open a pepper.
Please help me with this.
Okay, and then I'm going to put it on its side. We're going to go down, oops, and we're going to go down and
discard. So you get to keep all the good stuff.
Yes.
Do you cut out the whites? Because I know some people say like to cut out the, what is this called?
It's called a pith.
Yeah.
If there's big pieces, I would. Other than that, it's gonna melt down.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just slicing these up, haphazard. They don't have to be perfect. I have a bowl here. I also have one onion.
All sliced up.
Right, all sliced up. And then chicken. This is great because it really stretches the protein. I know proteins are really expensive these days.
It is, yeah.
So I cut it in half this way, and then I turn it that way, and that's how I get my slices, because that's actually cutting against the grain of the chicken.
And
so
that's
it'll be
what
a lot more tender.
Because I do find that as the chicken breasts are getting bigger, and I don't know what's being put in them, sometimes they can be a little chewy and tough. So this is a good way, cut against the grain.
Exactly. And like I said, it really stretches it. So what we would do is just put this in the bowl. Can you grab some of these seasonings and start adding those while I take off
Okay, tell me how I can help. What is it?
Okay, so this is just fajita seasoning. You can make your own, you can buy it, just whatever you like. I have a half a teaspoon of cumin. That adds a lot of smokiness to it. We're gonna do salt and pepper, and then we also have some lime juice. And if you want to put the garlic in there, I'll do the lime juice. Okay, so we would mix that up, right? Okay. This is the trick with the sheet tray. You have to put it in the oven 500 degrees while it's preheating, get it nice and hot. And
so
I'll show you why.
That thing is gonna be like sizzling then, right?
Exactly, and it's also going to cut down on the amount of time that you need to cook it. So this actually is only going to bake for about 9 minutes. That's about it.
Wow.
Because they're nice and thin. So if you want to just put it on there, I know it's not fully mixed yet, but you'll hear that sizzle.
Oh yeah,
See?
you can hear it.
And
it's like when you're at a restaurant and they come out with the fajita tray and it's sizzling and everybody knows what you ordered.
And then this is the finished product. I did already take half of it and put it towards our soup here. But you'll see it gets a little bit of char, nice and delicious. Yeah. And we're just gonna make tacos with that. I have one behind the red bowl ready for you to try if you'd like. Now there's different toppings you can put on there. I just did some cilantro and onion. You can also put some shredded cheese.
I do love fajita night because it can be whatever you want. And sometimes we'll serve it with refried beans and I'll put a little bit of those on there.
Perfect. I know, easy peasy. All right, while you're trying this, I'll move into our soup here. Okay. So obviously I have my onions and my peppers. I have a 1/4 cup of butter in there. And the reason we want so much butter is we're actually gonna make a roux with some flour.
Wonderful.
So it's gonna thicken our soup a little bit. Now, do you remember Max and Irma's? Yes.
There was one right downtown. I don't know why I remember this, but right across from KDKA, right down here.
Delicious. They're out of business right now. They had the most amazing tortilla soup, and this is a dupe of that. So if you remember that, this is what it is. It is not authentic. There's no like chilies in there like it should, but anyway. All right, so we have that in there. I forgot this.
This is, by the way, so good.
Oh, good,
Really, really good.
So I got the flour in there. Now we would let this cook for about a minute or so, but I'm gonna make it go a little fast. And like I said, that's gonna thicken our soup. This is just milk and water.
I was gonna ask, do you use half and half to use milk? What do you use?
Yeah, you could use half and half, doesn't matter.
Whatever you have.
This is 1%, you could use 2%. I have fire roasted tomatoes, okay? This comes together so fast. And then, this is the secret. I tried it without it, and you can't do without it.
It's the cheddar cheese soup.
It's the cheddar soup. Yeah, you gotta do it.
You gotta use it.
I know. It really adds a lot of like silkiness and then that cheese flavor. And speaking of cheese, you are supposed to add Velveeta, but you'll notice it's not here. It's in my refrigerator at home. Isn't that fun?
Well,
Yay!
you did a lot to remember a lot of stuff to bring.
Well, thank you. And also, what you want to do is maybe garnish with a little bit of crispy tortillas and some cilantro.
Yee.
Do you remember the taste?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Okay, so this is all, you have the cheddar cheese in there, you have Velveeta, and then how long is this cooking down for?
Honestly, all you're trying to do is melt that Velveeta and kind of thicken it a little bit. And once that's done, you can add your chicken back in.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It's all just going to come together. Right? Isn't it good?
It's so good. And honestly, with this cold weather that we have coming, this just warms the soul.
Yep, it heats up well too. It doesn't separate.
So good. Okay, well, you've taken care of dinner for 2 nights this week. Thank you, Chef Janet.
Welcome.
We're going to have these recipes as well as a link to book her for yourself if you want to have Chef Janet come to you on our website. Still to come on Talk Pittsburgh, chicken wings gone cold, queso turned into a cheese block. Well, guess what? Chef Janet is sticking around. She's heading to the studio with me to fix your Super Bowl snack disasters before they even happen. Plus, Butler's own Ava McNaughton is heading to the Olympics. She tells us what it's like to hit sport's biggest stage and suit up next to the players she grew up admiring. And from offensive firepower to defensive chess matches, this year's Super Bowl is shaping up to be a battle of complete opposites. Cassidy Wood is revealing what could decide the entire game. Plus, the Steelers are on the clock. That's next. We're starting this next segment with a big cheer. It's National Women and Girls in Sports Day, and we don't have to look far for inspiration. Pittsburgh is home to some powerhouse women's teams, the Riveters, the Passion football team, both of whom we've had the pleasure of featuring right here on our show. I cannot forget this moment. And we also can't forget the incredible momentum in girls wrestling across the state. Another story we've highlighted as more young athletes step onto the mat and make their mark. And on the national stage, Super Bowl 60 is just 4 days away with the Seahawks and Patriots ready for their showdown in Santa Clara. That's the San Francisco area, by the way. KDKA sports reporter Cassidy Wood is giving us the outlook as we head into the big game and into the weekend. So happy that you could join us here. And I want to start with the Super Bowl because I think it's always hard. We talked about this on PTL today. When the Steelers aren't in it, who are we cheering for? Why? What's the reason we're watching?
Yeah, I mean, for this Super Bowl specifically, I think it's exciting for a couple of reasons. Look, the Patriots, a lot of people have mixed feelings about the Patriots being back in this game. They had 20 years of a dynasty, and then it only took them a couple years to get back to the big game. But you can cheer for their coach, Mike Vrabel. You know, he was drafted here to Pittsburgh in 1997, and that's where he began his NFL career, was right here with the Steelers for 4 years, and then ultimately, he did go to the Patriots and had an incredible career as a player there, which is also what makes this game exciting, too. I mean, in just 2 years, he's been able to take his previous team that he once played for, that he's now coaching for, all the way to the Super Bowl game. So it's pretty exciting for Vrabel. Also, linebacker on the Patriots, Robert Spillane, also started here in Pittsburgh, spent a few years here through 2022. So he's been with the Patriots since, but Spillane's another one that you can kind of root for.
Well, I was going to ask you if there are Pittsburgh connections, and you just gave them to us. No, this is perfect. This is great. But it gives us something to cheer on and to look for.
Yeah.
The other thing that I want to ask, too, is about the quarterbacks, because I feel like in the past we've had these names that have been around for so long. They almost become household names, even if you don't know the team that well. It doesn't seem like we have that this year.
Yeah, and that's also going along with the first question you asked, kind of a redemption story, right? Sam Darnold, who's the quarterback for the Seahawks, I mean, he took the Vikings last year on 14 wins. You know, after that, they kind of lowballed him with his contract. He ultimately chose to leave and go to the Seahawks. And in 1 season, he's been able to take them to the Super Bowl game. So for him, it's such a redemption story. And then on the other side, you have Drake May, who the young guy, and people really didn't know what to expect out of him. And now a lot of people are already comparing him to a young Tom Brady.
Wow. Well, let's get back here to home, because since we last talked to you, obviously the big news has come out about our own head coach here. And what are you thinking heading into our next season?
Yeah, Heather, I was joking with you before the show, like last time we talked, we didn't have a coach.
We didn't have a coach. Now we do.
So
yeah.
Very exciting. Look, I think with Coach McCarthy, his tenure, his resume speaks for itself, right? Yeah. I think what a lot of Pittsburghers, what a lot of Yinzers can be excited about is he did come home. And if you saw that press conference, it's hard not to get emotional when you watch that press conference, because he sat down and immediately, no words came out of his mouth. Immediately, he started crying. Yeah. You felt that emotion. His family was in the room. I had the pleasure actually of going out to Greenfield, his hometown, and speaking with one of his youth basketball coaches that coached him growing up, and he was emotional as well.
Well, and I do think, I mean, if you're a glass half full kind of person, maybe you can look at this and say, he might be the guy to set us up for success heading into the future. Even if he's not here long term, even if he's not a younger coach, as people are saying, he still could potentially do that for us.
Yeah, I mean, historically, the Steelers, right, have always hired young coaches, and I think it was kind of a shock getting a guy who's, you know, on the tail end of his career. But I do think coming in here, him being able to come in here and unite this roster that, you know, it was a tough exit when Tomlin left. A lot of these players were really emotional about it. So to get a guy to come in like McCarthy, who can maybe rally the troops a little bit, and it is a veteran roster. So who knows what can happen next year, and who knows, maybe Rodgers might come back.
You have a story coming up tonight that I want to talk about because it's Girls and Women in Sports Day. Yes. And this is specifically focused on triplets, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, this story is crazy, you guys. So there are triplet freshman girls out in Burrell High School that are starting on the varsity basketball team, and they're putting up points as freshmen. Wow. They're identical triplets, so they look exactly alike, and it's pretty funny. Their parents color-coded each of them when they were born so they could tell them apart. Oh, and to this day, even their coach, who's known them since they were in kindergarten, has to look down at their shoes to tell them apart.
What are their numbers? 4, 5, 6?
So
like, what do they do?
20, 21, and 22.
That's great.
So
fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to that story tonight. Cassidy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Still to come on the show.
Well, they say all good things come to an end.
What's that got to do with this show?
After 5 decades, The Muppet Show is back. We're talking to their #1 fan about the reboot. And we're kicking off the second half of the show with some good news, too, including a reason to get out of the house this winter. Talk Pittsburgh. We'll be right back. One of my favorite segments. Welcome back to Talk Pittsburgh. Let's get into some good news that has us talking. And honestly, this one's for me. This is for all my fellow readers out there, too. Pittsburgh now has its first romance bookstore. It's called Passionate Pages. We're talking rom-com, romantasy, even YA and graphic novels, too. Next week on Love Week, we're going to take you inside the shop on PTL and also get some good book recommendations for Talk Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's theater scene is coming together in a big way. Nearly 20 local companies have launched a new campaign called Go See a Show, featuring discounted tickets and a one-stop shop website to find exactly what's playing and when. And one to check out this week if you're interested, Angus teaches acting at the new Hazlitt Theater. It's a hilarious mockumentary-style musical starring Treasure, who you may remember performing on our show last fall. So you can plan your next night out and support the local arts, too. Well, it was 50 years ago the original Muppet Show premiered. We're capping off today's good news with something specifically for Boaz and fellow Jim Henson fans. Boaz, this is a pretty big week for you. You got to go to Punxsutawney on Monday, and then a brand new Muppet Show premieres today. So this is a big week.
Oh my gosh, it is a big week, and I got to watch a preview of the Muppet Show last week, which I was really excited about. And here's the thing, us Muppet fans have been concerned for the last few years. Since Disney bought the Muppets in 2004, there have been a lot of missteps. There was the Muppets Workplace Comedy in 2015, which fell flat. Muppets Now, which was released on Disney Plus a few years ago, people weren't into that. There was a Muppets Haunted Mansion Halloween movie, which also didn't really do that well. And the Muppet fans have been saying, just do the original show, which is that original show that aired in the late 70s and 80s for 5 seasons, the variety show. Bring back the Muppet Show. And Disney finally answered, and they did it. They're releasing a special today starring the special guests Sabrina Carpenter, Maya Rudolph, and Seth Rogen are there too. And I've looked at the reviews, and they're fantastic. The New York Times, The Guardian, Hollywood Reporter all had glowing things to say, and I, as a Muppet fan, loved it. So I hope that this is what the Muppets need right now, and that other folks tune in. And Heather, we need you to watch too, because I want Disney to see that people are excited about this.
Okay, so here's the thing. We just saw a clip of Sabrina and Miss Piggy. And I have a feeling that those two divas are either going to get along so well, or there's going to be a heated rivalry between the two of them.
It is a complicated relationship,
Sure.
and it's so well written. I laughed out loud with that sort of duo interacting, and there's also this incredible duet with Sabrina and Kermit, which is so sweet, and Maya Rudolph is hilarious, as she always is. So I mean, I think if this doesn't do well, there's nowhere to go. Like, this is the last-ditch effort. They did a fantastic job, and I hope people notice.
All right, so I'm supposed to ask you, on a scale out of 5 Miss Piggies, what would you give it?
I'd give it, 4 3/4. It is, close to perfection, and I couldn't ask for anything else. And it just makes you want to think, like, what would it be like if, all these other popular musicians and current stars were on, this new iteration on The Muppet Show? I would love to see that.
It kind of feels like Sesame Street a little bit, how they're pulling in some big name power to kind of amp up something that's been around for a while. Boaz, thank you so much. I can't wait to watch this one.
Yeah, let's check back in after you do.
Okay. All right, if the Super Bowl is on your watch list this weekend as well, Sunday is almost here, and Chef Janet Loughran stuck around. She is back with her viral game day hacks to serve and transport your food like a pro. I'm going right across the street, but we know that this is a big deal. If you're bringing a dip and you have to drive a couple miles, you got to make sure it all stays where it needs to stay.
Exactly.
So we're going to start with transporting hot foods.
Correct.
So what is your big hack?
Okay, so what I've done is I just take the hottest tap water I can get.
Okay.
Fill maybe about 1/2 inch to 1 inch on the bottom, and then you would just empty that out. And this also works well if you run out of space.
Is this
I know this is precarious. Here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna help.
Usually I just put this in the sink. Look. So anyway, like I was saying, if you run out of space in your oven, this could actually help keep everything warm as well. Because it basically turns it in kind of like a thermos.
So we're using
instead of a cooler.
really hot water to like basically get the inside insulated part of this hot.
Right, and then I just put obviously we always have some cardboard at home.
Yeah.
And then you would put your item in there. If you want to layer, put some more cardboard, and you can just go as you please. And the residual heat will keep everything warm. Make sure that it doesn't fall apart whenever you're in transport.
Genius.
So, yeah.
And we should say too, like this is one of the big things where you kind of got a lot of fame on social media, is sharing all of your life hacks.
Yes,
like
there's little things that I'll do, and my husband will say, you need to put that out there. I'm like, but it's so simple,
Oh, but I love them.
I know, I'm that kind of girl.
And your personality shines through too. And here we're seeing the cooler hack right now.
Geez, in my kitchen, yep.
I love it. Okay, so let's do cold food.
Okay.
Because again, this is another one where it's just basically keeping things so it's not sliding all over the place.
Exactly. This is for, like charcuterie boards, just vegetable boards, that sort of thing. So you usually have the lid.
Yeah.
What I do is I turn it upside down.
Okay.
I get a bag of ice, set that in there, and then set this on top, and it's going to help to keep it colder than if you wouldn't have had it there.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
This is genius.
I know, right? And then when you're done, just put the lid back on, put it in your refrigerator.
I love this idea so much. I have to ask, what are you making for the Super Bowl?
Oh,
because do you have a good spread? Are you watching at home?
Well, I think I might make some chili because we like chili cheese dogs.
Love it.
That sort of thing. I have a busy week coming up, so I don't know if I'm going to be going anywhere, but it'll be fun to watch the game.
Okay.
I'm a big football fan, so.
Chili's coming your way, though, fam. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for the tips and hacks. Still to come on Talk Pittsburgh, we are checking in with Barry Pintar in the newsroom for your first look at the KDKA Evening News. And Ava McNaughton, the Butler kid with big dreams, is now headed to the Olympics. She opens up about playing on the world stage and sharing the ice with the players she once looked up to. Our one-on-one conversation with one of the best goaltenders in the NCAA is coming up next. We are continuing to celebrate National Girls and Women in Sports Day. Here in Pittsburgh, the day comes with a whole lot of heart. Volunteers packed more than 1,000 sports bras for female student athletes at Acrisure this morning. And we're actually showing you some video from last year when the Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, Riveters, and more teamed up for the effort. The event helps students across Pittsburgh public schools a simple piece of equipment that can make a huge difference in participation, performance, and confidence. And speaking of inspiring young athletes, one local star is showing the world exactly what's possible. Ava McNaughton, a Butler native and one of the top women's ice hockey goaltenders in the country, is heading to the Olympics for the very first time. I had the chance to talk to her before Team USA left for Italy. Take a look. Ava, I read, this is so exciting, I read that you started playing hockey after watching the Vancouver Olympics. Does this feel totally full circle for you to be in this moment?
Yeah, absolutely. That's kind of where the whole dream started. And, it's crazy to be here now. And, 16 years later, and, this is my life. So it's definitely still really surreal.
Well, here's what's really interesting to me is that you're actually going to be playing with some of the people that you watched in those Olympics. Yeah. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. There's a couple players who are, longtime veterans, and this is, their fourth or fifth go around. So, it's an honor to be able to be on ice with them and, share this experience with them and hopefully take away some of their knowledge as well.
Can you mention any of them that you have personally looked up to? Was there anybody that served as kind of an inspiration to you?
I think as a goalie, I think all the goalies who were in that aren't playing anymore, but I think obviously the most prominent one for USA Hockey is Hillary Knight. She's going into her fifth Olympics now, which is a great storyline. I think she's been monumental for the growth of women's hockey, and honestly I think is probably a role model to every young American girl looking to play for the Olympic team one day. I think she's a great person on and off the ice, and easy to look up to.
I think Pittsburghers, we love when we can put a claim on anything that's on a national or international stage like the Olympics. And seeing you go there, I think so many people are wondering about your background and how you got into all of this. And we see people when they reach this point of success, but we don't often see everything that's happened before that. What has this journey been like for you?
It's been a long one. My family didn't really have any hockey ties before this, before I was watching those Olympics. And I pretty much begged my parents for weeks to start, and they were trying to wait for the Little Penguins program to start nearby us, but it didn't start until like the fall, and obviously it was the winter. It was in February or so. So I ended up starting at the Mites program at RMU, and I played there for a long time, and then played for Arctic Foxes. That was my team. I played boys for a while for them, played for South Point Rink Rats. And then ended up playing Pittsburgh Penguins Elite for a number of years. I played on the boys and the girls teams there. So, ties to a lot of different Pittsburgh organizations there. And then I ended up going away for high school. I went to Bishop Kearney Selects, which is in Rochester, New York. So, and now I'm here at Wisconsin. So it's been a long journey, and tons of people to support along the way from Pittsburgh and afar. And so just really grateful to everybody who's been able to make this happen for me.
And what are you doing now as you're getting ready, as you're getting closer to that big day?
Tons of preparation, obviously packing, trying to get ready and kind of wrap my head around the Olympics, but also still have some business to take care of here as well.
Yeah, I am so impressed with you. I think so many people are. When I learned that you were a double major in biochemistry and global health, I don't know why you ended up choosing those two as your majors, but what are you hoping to do after college with your degrees? Are you hoping to enter into the Professional Women's Hockey League? What are you hoping to do?
Yeah, I think with the growth of the PWHL, it's definitely kind of changed my plans a little bit. As a kid, obviously, there wasn't too much to offer after college, and other than the Olympics, obviously. And so I had always wanted to go to medical school. That was always, the big dream of mine outside of hockey. And it still is. I still would like to pursue that. But I think as of right now, I'm kind of trying to ride out the hockey wave as long as I can. I think, it's special to be able to say that you played a professional sport, and, not everyone can say that. So I think it's a fun, pursuit for me right now. And hopefully I'll be able to have some success and maybe, go for the next Olympics as well. And then maybe turn to some academics after that. So.
Do you think, being from Pittsburgh, that Pittsburgh could support a PWHL team here?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember as a kid there was a college showcase that happened at UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex that I went to as a kid, and there was a great showing there. And I think with the growth of Penns Elite and girls hockey around the state and Western Pennsylvania. I think that we definitely could have the pull and even into Ohio. And so, we have plenty of great facilities, and I think that, it would be a super cool, like really full circle moment to be able to play pro hockey here in Pittsburgh.
I got to tell you, a lot of people are drawn to hockey right now because of a show that has gone major global. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you this, but have you watched Heated Rivalry?
I have not. I have seen a lot about it in the media, in TikTok, even obviously around the hockey world. There's been tons of publicity about it, which has been great for men's and women's hockey. So it's been really fun to see, but I haven't actually watched the show.
I too have not. My producer is obsessed. So I know that people are, they're loving this. And like you said, it's bringing, at the very least, a little bit of awareness about hockey and what's happening out there. So.
Yes, absolutely. It's got a lot of great storylines from what I can tell. And I think obviously it's a great net overall for, tons of different communities across the country.
Ava, we are so happy that you were able to take some time and talk with us today. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It was so great talking with her. And since that conversation, the official Olympic schedule is out, and the first women's hockey game is a preliminary match against Czechia. It's scheduled for Thursday, February 5th, which is tomorrow. We're going to link you up to the full USA women's hockey schedule on our website. And we wish Ava and Team USA all the best. Still to come on the show, KDKA reporter and anchor Barry Pintar is standing by in the newsroom with the stories you don't want to miss tonight on the KDKA Evening News. Let's take a moment to find out what you can expect to see on KDKA TV News tonight at 4, 5, and 6. Barry Pintar is in our newsroom with some of the stories our news team is working on. Hey, Barry.
Hey, Heather. Good afternoon to you. Here are a few of the stories our news team has been working on today. First, if you, a family member or friend, send your or their kids to a Catholic school here in Pittsburgh, you and they are about to get some really good news. An anonymous donor provided such a substantial gift that the local Catholic school system has announced that every single student and family will receive a grant toward future education and tuition. We're asking how much money was donated and how much each family could receive. Also, an incredibly unwelcome commute for several drivers on Route 28 this morning. We've heard from several drivers who found these shard-like blades stuck into their tires. What's more, many of those drivers ended up with flat tires. What are these shards and where did they come from? Our news team is finding out how such a thing could even happen in the first place. Finally, you might remember this story from the Bell Vernon Walmart where a man recorded himself using racial slurs toward a shopper there. This is that video. The Liberian immigrant he verbally assaulted went on to forgive him, and he went so far as to post a note on her business apologizing. Still, that verbal assault was live streamed, and today he was formally charged and faces several charges from that incident. We'll tell you what those multiple charges are and what happens next. All that and more starting in just a few minutes on the KDKA newscast.
Barry, I know that live streamed assault. A lot of people commenting on it, a lot of people weighing in on that. And then, of course, the apology that followed right after.
Yeah, from both sides. And the woman assaulted publicly stated she forgave him. Still, it all went down not only at a public Walmart, but also over the web for an untold number of people to see. So, forgiveness or not, he now has to face the court system.
All right, Barry, thanks for bringing us up to speed on everything that's coming up this evening and some stories to certainly watch out for.
Yep.
Still to come on Talk Pittsburgh, we are wrapping things up with another quick look at your forecast and what we're chatting about for tomorrow's show.